We're rolling.
Okay, so welcome everybody. I'm gonna this week try to look at the camera as much as I can remember to do so. Talk to the camera, right, Paul? So welcome everyone. This is July 24th, the first of I think what we'll have is two regional vice chair candidate opportunities. I think this is becoming a recurring Friday night get together where we get to do Q&As with the candidates, and they get to, express themselves and get their message out there. And we've had great fun, and it's been very educational, I think, and informative for those of us who have attended. And I hope you, enjoy it and learn from it as much as we have these last few weeks. So tonight, we have for regional vice chair candidates, I see Elizabeth Castillo is in the room. And we also have Isaac Lieberman. And let's see, who else is here? Rebecca Wolfersberger is here. And I don't know if Angelica is Angelica Dueñas or another Angelica, or ¿quién es? Is that Angelica Scherp?
I'm gonna go out a second and put my full name on here, sorry.
Oh yeah, if you would, folks, just so everybody knows who everybody is, if you wouldn't mind renaming yourself on the screen. Oh wait, I'm not even on camera? Oh, yeah, I wasn't on video this whole time. Here I am. Yeah, sorry everybody, I was just talking to the black screen. So welcome once again. That is my face. This is our computer slash junk slash home office room. That is almond milk behind me. I am 16 years vegan now. That is our COVID supply and earthquake readiness supply there. Hopefully not to be needed. Let's.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. Who is that?
It was me. I'm just giggling over here.
Oh, okay.
Ignore me.
So is the Angelica here Angelica Scherp or Angelica Dueñas? Can you speak up?
Dueñas, but I'm not really here. I'm holding close.
All right. And are you going to be speaking or running tonight? Or you just
Point of order.
I'm just a spectator.
You're just going to be a spectator.
Point of order.
Point of order. Oh my.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What the hell's wrong with that almond flavored beverage right behind you? So they've been there for like 2 months now, Paul.
Well, that's what I tell you. It's COVID, the earthquake supply. Yeah, you may see other things pop up.
You do have to rotate your supply, though. You know that. You have to rotate your supply, buddy.
I know. This is relatively new from Costco a couple months ago. Anyway, all right. So I guess we have just 3 candidates here right now. I'm going to leave it up to the candidates, since there's only 3, if they would like to do, as we've done the past few weeks, a round robin style, wherein they all go at the same time. So it would take about an hour and a half. Or if they would like to go individually, or if any one of them would like to go individually for about a half an hour, if you need to go somewhere and really do have a hot date on this Friday night, and need to get away. It's really up to the candidates. I'm not going to force myself onto the candidates and force them to choose.
I think it was round robin was the voted preference, I believe, of the candidates. Isn't that right?
Let's check with Rebecca and Elizabeth just to make sure that they consent to round robin style for about an hour and a half. Where's Elizabeth? There she is. Okay, do you want to go alone, Elizabeth, or do you want to do it with Rebecca and Isaac?
Yeah, I think the round robin sounds good. It sounds
okay, all right, great. Okay.
Maybe we get a bathroom break halfway through.
Yeah, well, yes, please. Feel free. Just remember to turn off your video if you are coming from the bathroom. But yes.
And the audio, we don't want one of those congressional flushes.
No. Yes, we will keep it clean tonight. And yeah, and any other candidates though? I think those are the only 3. So speak now or forever hold your peace, I guess, as we.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure. Yeah.
Was this supposed to be streamed on Facebook?
If you can stream it on Facebook, yeah. Again, we you know, as I've explained the last few weeks, we are not trying to be a closed vessel here. We, as members of LACDP, are meant to represent all Democrats in LA County, at least especially the ones that elected us into office. And LACDP meetings themselves, even though this is unofficial, this is independent, LACDP meetings are open to the public, not just to Democrats, and sometimes members of the press come in. And so, you know, we believe in democracy. We believe in openness and transparency like that. You know, so those of you who know me personally, I sign my emails often to fellow Democrats with a small d and a /D, democratically yours, because I believe that democracy, small d democracy, must always come first. And even as much as we believe in and support and want to promote our Democratic Party. So, so yeah, in that spirit, you know, Denis, if you can somehow, you're the technical wizard here, if you can somehow stream it to our Facebook page or anywhere on Facebook, feel free. And that goes for any of you listening. And feel free to share this. What we'll do is we'll post this afterwards on Facebook and YouTube so that everybody can view it. Because you know, there are no secrets here. We're being, you know, completely open and transparent. So, okay. So we have our candidates, and if they're ready, I'm ready. No, I should make a note that Carrie Scoville may not be able to make it. She is my co-moderator, or has been. And unfortunately, she may not be able to make it, she said. So I don't see her in the room right now. I may have to moderate all alone. So sorry to those of you who were hoping to see Carrie. We'll see if she comes in later. Hopefully she will or can. So anyway, if the candidates are ready, I'm ready. Are you all ready, candidates? Elizabeth and Rebecca and Isaac, let me get my piece of paper here to keep your order in order. Since we're doing round robin, we will try to keep switching it up. And so why don't we start in alphabetical order with the opening statements. Let's see, we would have Castillo would be first, and then we would be followed by Lieberman, and then we would be followed by Wolfersberger. And so that would mean that Elizabeth, you would get the floor to begin with opening statements for 3 minutes, and then Isaac would get 3 minutes, and then Rebecca would get 3 minutes, just as we've done each of these last few weeks. So are you ready to go, Elizabeth, or would you rather do reverse alphabetical order and put Rebecca on the hot seat first?
I can go first. That's fine. I don't want to put anybody on.
Okay.
So,
there
yeah,
you
thank
go.
you.
Let me get the, oh, wait, before you begin, Denis, would you be kind enough, since Carrie's not here, to be a timekeeper along with me? Wait, is Denis there?
Yeah, still here. I'm just trying to figure out the.
Oh, you're trying to figure that out? Well, okay.
I'll let that go.
I'm sorry.
Later. Yeah, no, I'll do the timekeeping.
If you could just help out, I'm going to be doing it myself as well. And also candidates, if you, for your own sake, would like to time yourselves so you know how much time you have, what I will do, as I've done the last few weeks, so I will do a 10-second countdown with my hands. So, 10, 9, 8, 7, right? So that you kind of know and you can look at me on the screen and see my hands. But I encourage you to, if you have a smartphone, to get that and to time yourselves as your 3 minutes are, going, and then you'll have 1 minute chances on a next set of questions, and then we'll go to lightning round and closing statement. So So anyway, if you don't already, grab your smartphones. And I think that would be good for you, not just for Denis and me, so we can keep track of time. And yeah, any other questions before we begin as far as that kind of formatting thing, housekeeping goes, candidates? Are we good? Okay. So Elizabeth, anytime you want to start, I will start my timer and you're welcome to start yours.
Okay, so thank you, everybody. My name is Elizabeth Castillo, and I'm running for vice chair. And so I feel that I would be great in this position because I have been a nurse for 12 years. I have been a leader. I worked at a hospital for 12 years. And then also, I have also been a sexual assault nurse examiner for the last 6 years. I did both at the same time. I worked full-time at a hospital, large acute care hospital in Long Beach, and then also as a nurse examiner for the last 6 years as my part-time. So the reason I would like to run is because I want more transparency in the LACDP. I feel that there needs to be more transparency, more diversity also. We need more women, more Latina women in these positions. And I think that I would be great doing this job. I have also been the word I want to say is, I was very involved with my union when I was a nurse working at the hospital with California Nurses Association. I was a nurse representative. I also worked with the Workforce Development Board. I was appointed by the California Nurses Association to Pacific Gateway Workforce Board. And what the responsibility in that position was for oversight of the Federal Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act resources. And so let me go back a little bit. As a union rep, I did oversee a lot of issues in the hospital, patient care issues. And so those issues we would bring forward to the CEO of the hospital and discuss ways to resolve those issues. And so that was another leadership position that I had. Also, as a union rep, I worked with the union going to the Capitol many times, to many rallies for SB 562, which was the single payer healthcare bill, which we know now that has been shelved by Speaker Anthony Rendon. And so I worked very hard with the nurses, my colleagues, and California Nurses Association to get that bill passed. We talked to many political leaders to get their support, but unfortunately we know that never happened. So I do intend to keep on working with single payer healthcare with Healthcare LA. And I'm also campaigning as I'm running as a state senate for the 33rd district against Lina Gonzalez. And my platform will be strongly for healthcare for all in California. Thank you.
Oh, perfect timing. All right. Wow. Thank you, Elizabeth. Okay. Next up would be letter L. So Isaac Lieberman, you're the lucky winner.
Thanks so much, Paul. I really appreciate the invitation. And I just in case anybody isn't clear on this, I support Elizabeth Castillo for Regional Vice Chair.
Thank you.
And you bet. Thank you for that wonderful speech. And unfortunately, I believe our competitors in these races aren't here tonight. So just so everybody knows, the people speaking are not running against one another. Most of us are quite possibly supporting one another. So anyhow, that caveat, thanks again, Paul and Carrie, for helping to put together this event tonight. My name is Isaac Lieberman. I'm a lifelong Democrat and also a union RN, working night shift.
Can I interrupt you real fast, Isaac, if you don't mind? the thing is that Elizabeth is still on screen. I don't know if she is for me and for everybody, and I don't know if that's a technical thing, Dennis, or if she's muted now. Yeah, if those of you who are candidates or just attendees, if you would mute yourselves while the candidates are speaking. But Dennis, Elizabeth remains on the screen, and for the purposes of the video,
I fixed it.
okay, we'd like Isaac to be shown when he's speaking. Okay. All
So,
right.
okay, I'll test.
There we go. There you are, Isaac. Okay,
Okay,
bingo.
great.
So
I
I'm
still
sorry
see
to interrupt
Paul,
you,
which-
and we'll continue.
No problem, which I much prefer to look at you than to look at me. So it's good for me, but if there's another glitch or problem, don't hesitate to interrupt,
Okay.
no problem.
All right.
Should I go ahead and
please,
start
please.
my time again? All
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Well, my name is Isaac Lieberman, lifelong Democrat, union RN, working night shift, and an environmentalist who was political chair with Sierra Club for several years past. A proud California native. There's no place on earth I'd rather live than here. Born in SoCal to a poet father, a Jewish teacher at Orange Coast College, being abused by and standing up to the Koch brothers' fathers funded John Birch Society. I was then raised in Champaign-Urbana, Illinois, with a few years in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, and a year in Japan. After high school, I was a straight-A computer science geek, dropout of the University of Illinois, then later a summa cum laude graduate, both of UCLA's Communication Studies and of COC's RN program. Prior to becoming an RN, I worked as a software engineering small business owner and an actor, with a brief stint in between as a field deputy for the late, great LA City Council member, Bill Rosendahl. Checking and recognizing both the white privilege under which I was raised and the horrific racism that's haunted our nation from the start, I am a Black Lives Matter anti-racist advocate and activist. I've been thinking a lot lately about a lot of things that need to be repaired in this country and in this county. I'd like to contemplate this. Should your tax money pay multi-million-dollar compensation packages to corporate executives? What's the official salary of the US president? Last I checked, it was roughly $400,000 a year. Now that's a pretty good salary, but I don't mind my tax money paying that in general to legitimate presidents. But what about the CEOs of insurance companies? What about the CEOs of contractors in the military, industrial, congressional complex? Pulling down millions while our tax money are funneled by the billions into their coffers. Call me a radical, but I say let's end that practice. Now, if you stand for the corrupt status quo in the party and our government, where the GBC, the greedy billionaires and their corporations, like the Koch brothers, Richard Mellon Scaife, the Mercers, and yes, Michael Bloomberg too, they're in control, manipulate everything for their benefit, the detriment of you and I, the 99%, and sticking with the current leadership of the party is fine. But I'm not. I want to save 70,000 lives a year with single-payer universal health care as a human right, Medicare for all. So if you're with me, if you think change is necessary, please vote for me, Isaac Lieberman, and my fellow progressive justice warriors fighting to save lives, save money, and restore democracy. Thank you. Can you stop? I don't know why I can't hear anything anymore.
I think we all muted.
Paul,
So what?
Oh, I was muted too. Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah.
I was even muted. Okay. So I'm unmuted now. Is Rebecca unmuted, Dennis?
I am.
Oh, bingo. All right. You are coming to us from the San Fernando Valley with that beautiful shot of LA behind you. Looks like it might be from Dodger Stadium.
I don't know.
Yeah, but nobody's being allowed in Dodger Stadium, so
Right.
the cardboard cutouts. But anyway, yeah, no, you'll have 3 minutes here, Rebecca. Let me restart the stopwatch, and then you can begin whenever you'd like. And if you have a stopwatch yourself on your phone, feel free to start it too.
Y'all may have to verbally stop me because I
That's okay.
haven't timed my speech and I'm not that.
That's fine. That's fine.
So thank you, Paul, Carrie, and Dennis, everyone who has worked on this forum. Why doesn't it surprise me that Isaac Lieberman was a summa cum laude? My name's Rebecca Wolfersberger, and I'm here to ask for your vote for Regional Vice Chair for LACDP Region 2. I'll start with a little bit about myself. It's important to me that you know that I'm 61 years old, because that tells you what years in America I lived through, and that I didn't just see it on CNN miniseries or in the movies. Looking back, I now understand that I have always benefited from structural racism and white privilege. I grew up in a lower to middle class home outside of Kansas City, but I went to some of the best public schools in the country, and it was always assumed that my 3 siblings and I would go to college. My father was a minister of a large church, and my mother taught piano, eventually becoming a university professor and director of a music school in Southern California until she retired. My goals growing up were about reforming the American prison system, a grandiose goal for a 15-year-old girl, but I got a degree in sociology and later one in counseling. I moved to California in 1999 to take a job for Los Angeles County as a social worker right here in Region 2, which means I spent the last 20 years driving all over the San Fernando Valley, at my count approximately 31 cities, going in and out of homes and schools, doing interventions for children in situations of child abuse, drug addiction, domestic violence, and poverty. I feel the experience can translate in a number of ways to being Regional Vice Chair for LACDP, in that I know Region 2 and the people of Region 2. I know that the injustices that are happening in Los Angeles County are immoral and intolerable for many, many people. I understand the racial disparities and disproportionality are rampant. For instance, Black kids specifically will go into foster care more often than white kids. Probably, I think it's 3 times more often than white kids. I was on a task force to look into and attempt to control these statistics while with the county. I retired 9 months ago to do volunteer work to increase my activism to help Bernie Sanders get elected president. I think because Bernie's ideas won in Region 2, that there should be someone here to represent the ideas and values of young people and others who supported Bernie. Some of those values and progressive values include money out of politics, single-payer health care, urgent climate action, cancellation of student debt, reduction of America's war economy, and of the utmost importance at this time, Black Lives Matter's challenge that we defund the police departments, take away many of the tasks that they are being tasked with and give those to social workers. I ask for your vote for Regional Vice Chair. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Rebecca. Okay. So now we will move to the questions portion. And we have 2 parts. So the first part are 1-minute responses. And let me stop the stopwatch here. And we're going to, let's start with reverse alphabetical order this time. So we'll go with Rebecca, and then Isaac, and then Elizabeth to start us off with the questions. So this is going to be question number 1. Rebecca, Isaac, and Elizabeth. And let me go get the questions. Okay, so this is going to be a 1-minute response again. So let me get the timer ready. Okay, so Rebecca, for 1 minute, why are you a Democrat?
Well, being a sociology buff, I know that kids generally become what their parents are. I've been a devout Democrat since I was able to vote at the age of 18 for Jimmy Carter. I'm a Democrat because Democrats traditionally are the party that cares about people, and because my parents are Democrats. That's the main thing.
You got 15, 20 more seconds if you want them.
I don't have anything else to add to this.
You'll yield the balance of your time.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you.
You're muted, Paul.
Oh, I'm muted. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Rebecca. And next up is Isaac. 1 minute. Why are you a Democrat, Isaac?
Franklin and Eleanor Roosevelt. I'm a Democrat because there are 2 major parties in this country, and it may be impolitic to say, since I'm running for vice chair of the county Democratic Party here in LA, but I'm not too pleased with some of the, shall I say, collaboration between the 2 parties. But what they've done, our party, the Democratic Party, along with what Noam Chomsky correctly calls the most dangerous organization in history of the planet, that's the Republican Party. Unfortunately, we've worked together with them to create a situation where no other party can become viable. I support ranked choice voting in order to remedy that situation.
Okay. Thank you, Isaac.
You're welcome. And I'm sorry about the noise.
No. That's your stopwatch, right?
As you recommended,
Yeah.
borrowing
No,
a
that's
smartphone with a timer.
That's good. I just got a text message from Dennis saying that if we were to Facebook live stream this, Dennis, you'd have to stop the meeting and then restart it. Yeah, so that would be a little problematic, huh? Are you there, Dennis?
Yeah, I mean, basically, I have to close out the meeting and then reopen it, and then I wouldn't be able to stream it.
Yeah, and you'd have to create a new link and everything.
No, not that. Just close the current meeting and then reopen it and start inviting people back in. But at this point, it's probably better just to take a recording of the meeting and then post it later.
Okay. All right. No, thank you, Dennis.
Open to everybody, right?
I'm sorry, what?
The meeting's open to everybody, right?
Right.
You can come in here and
yeah, the link is live, and so okay. Then next up, Elizabeth, are you there? Let's see.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so 1 minute, and the question is, why are you a Democrat?
So I'm a Democrat because my parents were Democrats, most of my family members. Latinos do tend to be Democrats. So, as 18 years old, it was something that I was really proud of after high school. Wow, I'm going to get to vote, and I'm going to be a Democrat, and, let my voice be heard. And that was very important to me. And even now, it's very important to me that we have a voice, that the people have a voice. But as what Isaac said is very true. I agree with him that I have seen Republican Party and Democratic Party working together and endorsing each other. And I feel that is big problem. And instead of endorsing progressives, the establishment Democrats go to the Republicans. And I think we need to find a way to stop that, and that should not be happening within our party. And well, that's it. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
did you have something, one last thought or something?
No, that was it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So thank you, Elizabeth. And we'll go to question number 2 now. So the second question, how about we go with Isaac first, and then let's go with Elizabeth, and then Rebecca. Okay. All right. So this next question up first for Isaac for 1 minute is, wait, let me get the damn timer here. Although Isaac's sounds a lot better than mine. Okay, so Isaac, you'll have 1 minute for this question. Please describe your involvement within the Democratic Party, such as being a member of or leader in Democratic Party clubs or organizations, this county central committee, California Democratic Party, Democratic National Committee, or the Democratic National Convention, etc. 1 minute, though. Are you there, Isaac?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Thank you for the question, Paul. Appreciate it. In 2000, well, I have been a lifelong Democrat, but some of the most important things that occurred in relation to my activities in the Democratic Party were in 2000 when the SCOTUS 5, that's the Supreme Court of the United States, stopped the counting of votes in Southeast Florida and appointed the Republican candidate as president. I watched, listened to, and read Antonin Scalia and the rest of those scoundrels' actions in the Supreme Court. And I became so outraged that I went to Southeast Florida the following cycle and became an activist for the Democratic Party. At the time, I became an appointed and then an elected member of the county committee. Since then, I've been member of too many Democratic clubs to mention, worked for Democratic electeds, and they ran for and been elected as a delegate to the Democratic National Convention. Been a member of the state committee, gone to almost all of the state conventions since then, either as a delegate or a protester. And so in a minute, that's probably a good
Okay.
brief summary.
Yeah. We went over a minute there. Okay. Yeah, and so because we went over a minute there, if Elizabeth and Rebecca, you want to go over a minute on this answer, to be fair, we will let you. That was about 30 seconds or so over a minute. So you got about 90 seconds here, Elizabeth. I will start the timer, and feel free to, let me repeat the question. Please describe your involvement in the Democratic Party, such as being a member, leader in party clubs, organizations, the County Central Committee, California Democratic Party, DNC, or the National Convention, etc. So
Okay.
90 seconds, let's say. Take it away.
All right, thank you for that question. And my first time being involved with the Democratic Party was actually through California Nurses Association. So they asked me to run, and they had several of the nurses run up and down the state. And so me and one of my other friends, co-workers, decided to run together in a slate, and we did win the ADEM election in the 63rd district. So that was really my first time ever being really involved with the Democratic Party. And going to the conventions up in, I think we went to Sacramento, and I forget which other city we went to. But it was very interesting to be part of that, to be part of the convention and endorsements. And so that's my first time being involved with that, and then now with the LACDP also. So basically the second time, and I'm really looking forward to being part of this committee and making change within our committee. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. Sorry. Okay, so let's go now to Rebecca. Do you need the question repeated, Rebecca? Let's unmute Rebecca. Or
Yes, please.
okay. Yeah. So
And
the question.
also, I think the hardcore time comments that are coming in the chat are a form of white privilege. I do not appreciate the non-moderator chiming in that we have to have strict time. We have already decided we could end this meeting an hour and a half earlier if we so choose. So
Just so for everybody to know, we only have 3 candidates tonight. And so, based on the last couple weeks and this set of questions.
I think flexibility is
we'll
allowable.
have a little flexibility.
We have a little bit of flexibility, and the rigid rule people can just chill a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, we slated 3 hours actually, because we, didn't know how many candidates would come tonight, but we only have 3. So based on approximately a half hour per candidate, tonight should wrap in about an hour and a half. And for those of you who joined us late, for candidates who wish to do so after that hour and a half or so, we can have extended Q&A with them from the floor as long as they want or you want. But basically, the bulk of it will be over, in about an hour and a half if the candidates and we keep as close as possible, to the time. But yeah. So Rebecca, let me repeat the question. Let's go to the question is, please describe your involvement within the Democratic Party, such as being a member of or leader in Democratic Party clubs, organizations, this county central committee, the California Democratic Party, the Democratic National Committee, or the Democratic National Convention, etc. And you have either 1 minute or 90 seconds on this one, however you'd like.
All right, so in 1980, the year I graduated from college, I joined a little club called Garfield County Women's Evening Club in Enid, Oklahoma. I have been an extremely shy person most of my life, but this little club of women voted me to be their delegate for to the DNC for Teddy Kennedy. That's the last involvement I had. I've been working full-time over the last 40 years until Donald Trump got elected. And then I became just apoplectic about what groups I needed. I just started joining groups everywhere. The group that I ended up finding the most benefit and meaning from was Field Burn Democratic Club in Los Angeles. For Los Angeles, and also Feel the Burn Democratic Club, San Fernando Valley later. They have been my teachers as to how to be an activist, and I owe everything I've learned to them and the myriad of other readings I've done and groups that I've joined, including the ACLU and a bunch of other people. But in the intervening 40 years, I cussed at the TV. That's what I did.
All right. Okay, that's 90 seconds. So thank you, Rebecca, for not cussing at me tonight. And yeah, we'll have some fun here. Okay, so thank you again, Rebecca. And we'll move on to the next question. And let's go trying to, keep this order. It's interesting when there's 3 to keep it divvied up. This next one, I think we'll go with Elizabeth and Rebecca and then Isaac. So Elizabeth, your 1 minute question here is, in terms of your political ideology, what type of Democrat are you? Would you describe yourself as a conservative, a moderate, a liberal, a progressive, a democratic socialist, or something else, and why?
I would say probably a socialist or leftist, really. I'm very to the left. I believe that we should be really not depending on these two parties. Honestly, I think we can do better making our own decisions. I think we need single parent health care. We need education for all. Rent control, defunding the police. Those funds can be better used in other resources for mental health, for health care, for people who are suffering right now because they can't pay for their rent, their mortgage, their food. There's a lot of people out there who can't even afford their food right now. For a lot of people who are food insecure, and that's very worrisome to me, and who can't afford their medications because they don't have health insurance because they've lost their jobs. So yeah, I would consider myself very much to the left, a socialist, whatever you want to call that. Yeah, that's what I believe. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Okay, so next here for this question is Rebecca. And again, the question is, in terms of your political ideology, what type of Democrat are you? Would you describe yourself as a conservative, moderate, liberal, progressive, democratic socialist, or something else? And why?
Thank you for that question. I am the kind of Democrat that started taking Ms. Magazine when I was 17 years old. I'm the kind of Democrat that joined the National Abortion Rights Action League when I was 18. That was in the middle of the 1970s. I'm the kind of Democrat that watched every single word of Anita Hill's testimony during that hearing and watched the despicable way she was treated by the men in our Congress. I'm the kind of Democrat that is a radical feminist. I don't mind admitting it. I really like men, but I am a radical feminist. So yes, and now today, having learned from my progressive friends, I have come to firmly and thoroughly believe in Medicare for all, and all the values that Bernie stands for. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Rebecca. Okay, next up, Isaac, I'll repeat the question for your convenience here. In terms of political ideology, what type of Democrat are you? Would you describe yourself as a conservative, moderate, liberal, progressive, democratic socialist, something else? And why? Are you unmuted, Isaac?
Thank you for that
There we
reminder. Can
Yeah.
you hear me? Okay. Thanks for the question. Progressive. I'm a Franklin and Eleanor Roosevelt Democrat. I'm a New Deal Democrat. I'm the Green New Deal Democrat, which actually is sometimes people forget. Not only does the Green New Deal include single-payer universal health care as a human right, but it also includes a federal jobs guarantee. Now imagine if we all had Social Security so we didn't have to waste our time investing and praying we die before our money runs out, and could be actual citizens rather than worrying about being fired every time we turn right and possibly becoming homeless. I'm a progressive democratic socialist Democrat. Thank you.
Oh, all right, perfect. Thank you, Isaac. And okay, so the next question, let's try to keep this order right here. We'll go back to Rebecca first, and then Isaac, and then Elizabeth. Okay, and let's get the question though. Okay, so the question is for Rebecca first, 1 minute. Many Democrats, especially Democrats under 50, now identify as Democratic Socialists. And given that Bernie Sanders, a Democratic Socialist, won California and LA County in the 2020 Democratic presidential primary, what is your plan to include and empower Democratic Socialists in the Democratic Party and to advance Democratic Socialist priorities? 1 minute. Take it away, Rebecca.
Thank you. These are the voices that are not being heard clearly enough in some parts of our country. I know we're just talking about locally now in Region 2, which I'm running for. Bernie Sanders won handily in Region 2, and the Democratic Socialist values are the direction that the people are going. If the party's not going in that direction, then we have a problem. And the reason I would want to have some leadership in this party is to be able to ensure that some of our elected officials in the LACDP are actually proponents of these values of Medicare for all, free college, etc.
Okay, are you done?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Rebecca. Okay, and next up would be Isaac. Again, many Democrats, especially Democrats under 50, now identify as Democratic Socialists. And given that Bernie won California and LA County, what is your plan to include and empower Democratic Socialists in the Democratic Party and to advance Democratic Socialist priorities? Unmute
Wow,
yourself,
that can now?
Yeah, I can hear you
Okay.
now.
Thank you. What a question to answer in 1 minute. Democratic Socialist, when I was helping found Our Revolution SCV, there was some question as to whether or not to name it and combine it with DSA SCV. And the mythology of capitalism, unfettered, unregulated capitalism, which is, as that stands, is nothing more than the law of the jungle. Might makes right. The strong eat the weak, and you get monopolies, oligopolies. We need to end that to promote working together to resolve problems that we all share. And that is what a government is about, and that's what Democratic Socialism is about. So I think my time is up. Is that?
Yeah.
Hands
Sorry.
up?
1 minute. A lot of stuff. We'll get
you.
more questions, more opportunities there. Okay. All right. So next up is Elizabeth. I'll repeat the question here. Many Democrats, especially Dems under 50, now identify as Democratic Socialists. And given that Bernie Sanders, a Democratic Socialist, won California and LA County in the 2020 presidential primary, what is your plan to include and empower Democratic Socialists in the party and to advance Democratic Socialist priorities? 1 minute, Elizabeth.
That's a big question, for sure.
I know.
Definitely, we really have to push our party back to where it used to be, to the left. And unfortunately, I think that's very hard right now because they are so much in the pockets of corporations, beholden to their corporate masters, basically. So to try to push them, we really have to get them to adopt a platform of stop taking corporate money, a public bank, free college, and healthcare for all. And we have to really stick to our guns, I think, and all together, I think if we're all united, that's how we will be able to do it. But if there's this, separation between the members and the committee, then I think it's going to be very, very difficult. And we're just going to continue on the same path as we've been going. And so my plan is to talk to people and I feel like I'm a good listener and a good talker, and I hope that I can convince people to go to the left.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next question, let me stop the timer here, should begin with Isaac, and then we'll go with Elizabeth, and then we'll go with Rebecca. So this is the 5th question, and this one, beginning with Isaac, 1 minute, is, are you an activist? If so, what is or what has been the nature of your activism? What activist organizations are you or have you been involved with? And unmute yourself, Isaac.
Thank you. Activist. Oh, gosh. I'm an environmental activist. I'm a racial justice activist. I'm a social justice activist. And I'm an economic justice activist. I've been involved with the Sierra Club, with Black Lives Matter, with Our Revolution, with any number of single-payer universal health care as a human right groups. I've recently been invited to the board of Healthcare for All Los Angeles. Let's say other active organizations. Alliance for Action. That's a good start.
You have about 15 seconds, I think.
15 more seconds to talk about the activism.
Only 5 more now.
I was the Medicare for All Healthcare Justice. I started the Healthcare Justice Call Team, and I was with Ferriston in the Pantages Theater Healthcare Singers. What's the name of that group?
Oh, yes.
Terrific.
Yeah. No, I know. Yes. Yeah.
We went all over the city and all the way to San Diego, singing about health care justice and fighting for single payer health human right.
A chorus for justice. All right. Very good. Thank you, Isaac. Okay. Next up for this question is Ms. Elizabeth Castillo. If those of you with the mics open, if you'd mute, and Elizabeth will have 1 minute for the following question. Are you an activist? If so, what is or what has been the nature of your activism? What activist organizations are you or have you been involved with? And Miss Elizabeth, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So definitely I am an activist. I have been involved with California Nurses Association when I worked at the hospital here in Long Beach. And we did a lot of activism with that union. I did a lot of activism with them. Went to the Capitol to talk to elected leaders, protested out in front of the Capitol for single-payer healthcare. SB 562 was very involved with that. Went to Speaker Rendon's office and protested out there to get him to support that bill, but we know that he shelved that bill. Also, I've been active with a group here, a local group for SB 625, which is the water privatization bill that they're trying to get through the Central Basin. They're trying to take that whole board out. And also Healthcare LA, also I joined with them recently and look forward to working with them as well. And then also I have recently started with LULAC Long Beach, and we will be organizing a group within that organization as well. So thank you.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I got distracted too.
Yeah,
for those of you who are on the call, if you would be kind enough to mute yourselves if you're not speaking as a candidate, just so we don't get distracted here. Okay. So thank you, Elizabeth. And next up, Rebecca, I will repeat the question for you. Unmute yourself if you haven't already. You'll have 1 minute for the following. Are you an activist? If so, what is or what has been the nature of your activism? And what activist organizations are you or have you been involved with?
Hi, yes, thank you. I am definitely an activist today. I I retired 9 months ago to be able to increase my activism. I ran for LACDP after this not having been ever in my life trajectory or anything I ever thought I would do. And I'm committed to having more progressive voices on the committees of LACDP, to having more young people on the committees, and I'm painfully inarticulate, but I'm going to work on that. So, thank you. Can't hear you.
You're muted, Paul.
Sorry. Thank you, Rebecca. No, you are not inarticulate. Thank you for joining us tonight. Okay, so we will go for the next question in the order of Elizabeth, Rebecca, Isaac. And the next question is, what is your current occupation? For whom or for what do you work? And what is your employment history? For whom or for what have you worked? Elizabeth, 1 minute.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so right now I'm actually a forensic, sexual assault nurse examiner or forensic nurse. I work for a private company here in the area of LA County, and we service several hospitals within LA County and Orange County. So what I basically do is sexual assault rape exams. I see pediatrics up to children, well, pediatrics to adolescents and adults. And I also do suspect exams as well. So I do see the police a lot. We collaborate with each other with those. And then also before that, I was working at a hospital in Long Beach. I worked there for 12 years. I worked on a diabetes respiratory unit. And so I resigned from there around December. So I got a little break from working in a hospital, which is very difficult. Before that, I worked in a doctor's clinic, and before that, I actually was a manicurist, pedicurist.
Oh, wow. All right. Very
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Elizabeth. And all right, we'll reset the timer here for Rebecca. I'll repeat the question. What is your current occupation? For whom or for what do you work? And what is your employment history? For whom or for what have you worked?
Thank you, Paul. I am retired, as I mentioned, and in my opening, I think I mentioned that I worked 20 years for Los Angeles County Department of Children and Family Services. I also worked 10 years for the Department of Corrections in the Midwest. And let me think what else you're asking. I've been a union member for 30 years. I was a member of AFSCME for 10 while I was with the Department of Corrections, and SEIU 721 for 20 years here in Los Angeles. And what was the other part of that? I can't hear you, Paul. You're muted.
So I'm muted. So yeah, no, that's fine, Rebecca. It was the question was what you're doing now for work and what have you done for work. But I think you said you're retired, right?
Yes.
Currently, yeah. So anyway, that was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And let's move on to Isaac. Isaac, 1 minute for the following question. What is your current occupation? For whom or for what do you work? And what is your employment history? For whom or for what have you worked?
Thanks, Paul. I'm an RN working for LA County. Solamente yo hablo solamente poquito español. Lo siento. Many, if not most of my patients are Spanish speaking. And so I do speak a little bit of Spanish in order to help serve them as best I can. We always have interpreters, patient technology available. before that, I was a tutor at a college. As I mentioned, I was very proud to work for the late city council member in Los Angeles, Bill Rosendahl, as a field deputy in Westchester, Playa del Rey, Playa Vista. Am I out of time?
No, you get 5 seconds.
For that, I was a software engineer and an actor, working, consulting for many different companies, mostly music companies. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
So that's the main part of my employment history. Thank you.
No, thank you, Isaac. Okay, next question. We'll go in the order, I believe, of Rebecca, Isaac, Elizabeth. And this is 1 minute for Rebecca to start. Why are you running for this LACDP position? What do you hope to accomplish in office, and what makes you feel qualified for the position?
Again, I believe that the values that Bernie Sanders has brought to his platform and now the Democratic Party's platform need greater voice. And I'm also interested in ensuring that new people, young people are made welcome, that progressives are put on committees. I'm not sure I'm answering the question, but those are the reasons. And I believe I have a wide swath of experience with every imaginable race, creed, color, income level, and religion, to be fair to persons in working as your regional vice chair for Region 2. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rebecca. And next up is Isaac. I'll repeat the question. Why are you running for this LACDP position? What do you hope to accomplish in office, and what makes you feel qualified for this position?
Thank you for that question. Well, early in my activism with the LA County Democratic Central Committee, when I was appointed and then elected as legislature in Sacramento passed single-payer universal health care as in right through both houses. Kuhl's bill. Of course, the Republican governor vetoed it. That single-payer health care has been on our platform since then, probably over 10 years. When we had a supermajority of Democrats in Sacramento and a governor, I was very excited. After over 100 years of fighting for health care as a human right, we were about to get it. Passed it through the Senate and blocked it. The rest is history. And
okay. That is time. If we're gonna be sticklers, is that okay, Isaac?
I'm sorry. What question?
Yeah, no, I just cut you off. So your minute was up.
Not a problem.
So okay, Elizabeth, you haven't gone yet for this question. So the question is, why are you running for this position? What do you hope to accomplish? And what do you feel makes you qualified?
So I'm running because I feel that I can bring people together, and I'm good at listening to people and talking to people. And I think that, you know, we can bring together, I can bring together people for the common good and convince them to you know, be united on the platform. And I can be fair, and I get along really well with people. I listen to them, and what I hope to accomplish is to bring our platform to the left. Healthcare for all environmental justice, because we do have a lot of issues here in the district that I'm involved in the 63rd and the 33rd. So I do believe that I can push our party to the left, and just justice for everybody. Education, we need education, and you know, we need to end this militarism also, you know. So I think we can I can bring people to bring a platform of against military industrial complex. And I think that I'm qualified because I've been a leader as a union nurse, and yeah, so I think that I can do that.
Okay,
Thank you,
Elizabeth. Okay, the final question in this round, let me restart my timer. This is the regular, so-called regular round of questions with 1-minute responses. And this will be the order of Isaac, Elizabeth, Rebecca. I believe that is the last and accurate order. So the question is, and you can elaborate in your 1-minute response as you wish. Have you raised or spent for your campaign to be an elected officer of LACDP? If so, from whom or from what sources? And whom or what have you paid, and for what campaign purposes? And this question, as I say, goes first to Isaac for 1 minute. If you'd unmute, Isaac. Unmute, Isaac.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can now.
So the question is, have I raised money for this campaign, and who from? I haven't raised money for this campaign, but I was a member of the committee with Field of Burn Democratic Club that helped write a corporate-free pledge at people to sign in order to get our endorsement. So that has a little bit about my values for funding elections. I have a lot of other ideas about how we need to get rid of the corruption and the big money in politics. We need a Supreme Court that is not owned by corporations, and so impeach the SCOTUS 5, full public finance reform, and required broadcast media, unpaid, qualified. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Isaac. And okay, next one is Elizabeth. I'll repeat the question for you. Have you raised or spent any money for your campaign to be elected an officer of LACDP? And if so, from whom or from what sources? And whom or what have you paid? And for what campaign purposes?
No, I haven't. I haven't raised any money or spent any money. So you're talking about campaign for somebody in the LACDP?
Correct.
What you mean?
Yes.
Okay. The only person that I've campaigned for or raised money for is Maria Estrada, for her run for AD 63 for Assembly. So I have had a get together here in my home to raise funds for her, and at my parents' home as well. And the community basically invited the community to come and hear her talk. And that's how I was able to help her raise, we were able to raise money for her campaign. So yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
And then Rebecca, I'll repeat the question for you and our audience. Have you, Rebecca, raised or spent any money for your campaign to be an elected officer of LACDP? If so, from whom or from what sources? And whom or what have you paid and for what campaign purposes if you've raised or spent any money?
No, I have not raised any money. I have not spent any money towards this position, towards being a candidate for this position. I have attended lots of different kinds of trainings, Emily's List, Run to Win, Come As You Are kinds of things, and that seems to be the #1 focus, is raising money So I know there's lots of training out there for Democrats that want to figure out how to raise money. That is not what my focus has been so far. It hadn't been necessary, really.
Okay, is that all?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you, Elizabeth. Rebecca, sorry. Okay, so now we move to the lightning round. I would ask our candidates, if you would, please limit your answers to yes, no responses or one-word answers. That's the way all of these questions were.
I'm sorry, can I take 5 seconds?
Oh, yes,
Did I
please.
have 5 seconds left?
Oh, yeah.
I did pay $325 for the list of the regional officers in the Region 2. Thank you.
Okay, all right, so thank you for stating that, Rebecca. Okay, so for the lightning round questions, we don't have to go round robin here because again, these are yes, no, or one-word answers. Just kind of speak out. That's the way it worked last week, and it seemed to work fine. So you can all unmute yourselves, the 3 candidates. You can kind of go one at a time, but these are pretty easy, simple questions, and it gets kind of confusing to go quickly through them and keep reversing order and mixing up order. So if you would just kind of politely do it yourselves, and we can get through this pretty quickly if you all cooperate with just yes or no or one-word answers to these questions. Okay. So let me get some water for myself because this will go lightning fast. And as I joked last week, we will not be having any lightning bolts from Zeus, I promise, or any crazy lightning round style graphics from cable television. This is very, very appropriate the way we're doing this. Okay, so our first question in this lightning round is, for whom did you vote in the 2020 Democratic presidential primary? All unmute yourselves, please.
Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, Bernie. I was like, oh, I drew a blank.
Me
Okay.
too.
And Isaac, who did you vote for?
Bernie Sanders.
Okay.
Oh, Bernie,
So-
one word.
Question 2. For whom did you vote in the 2016 Democratic presidential primary?
Bernie Sanders.
Bernie.
Bernie.
Okay. Maybe we should go in alpha order if you don't mind, just to, so our viewers are clear as to who's answering what. It might be easier. So we'll just go in alpha instead of mixing it up. So we'll go in the order of who would be first? Elizabeth, and then Isaac, and then Rebecca. I think that maybe will work better. So Elizabeth, Isaac, Rebecca on all these lightning round questions, alpha order. Okay, so we're to question number 3. For whom did you vote in the 2008 Democratic presidential primary? Well, Elizabeth first.
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
Sorry.
Ay, caramba. If you
It was probably Obama.
remember after Isaac and Rebecca respond.
Sorry.
It's
It's probably Obama.
Okay.
Yes.
So yes, that was the race where Obama and
Yes.
Hillary Clinton and John Edwards were the leading candidates, but there were obviously many other candidates.
Yes.
Okay, so your memory thinks it's Obama. All right.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
And Isaac Lieberman, who did you vote for in 2008 in the primary?
Anti-poverty Edwards.
Okay, John Edwards, yes. Rebecca, who did you vote for in 2008?
Barack Obama.
Okay. And next question. Are corporations people? Yes or no? Elizabeth?
No.
Isaac?
No.
Rebecca?
No.
All right. Is money speech? Elizabeth? Yes or no?
No.
Isaac?
No, my friend.
Rebecca?
No.
All right. Do you believe, yes or no, for-profit business contributions in politics gives rise to corruption, or at least the appearance of possible corruption? Yes or no, Elizabeth?
Yes.
Isaac?
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes.
All right. Yes or no? Do you support the public financing of all political campaigns for public office, either through direct funding or public matching funds or campaign vouchers, also known as democracy dollars, etc.? Elizabeth, yes or no?
Not sure about that one.
Not sure. That
I
is
think I need
a
more information on
valid
that.
response. So I should say it is a valid response to say not sure if you really are not sure, or if you can't remember who you voted for in 2008. So next question goes to Isaac, or this question.
100%.
Okay, he supports
100%,
public
yes.
financing. And Rebecca, public financing.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. All right. So next question. Should LACDP itself accept contributions from any of the following or endorse candidates who accept campaign contributions from or benefit from independent expenditure support by any of the following? Now I'm going to go through a list here, okay? And on this list, I want you to each of you to answer, yes or no or not sure for each of the following entities or individuals. I guess it's entities here. Okay, lobbyists with for-profit clients. Elizabeth.
No.
Isaac.
No.
Rebecca.
No.
Okay.
No.
Fossil fuel companies, their executives or their lobbies. Elizabeth.
No.
Isaac. Isaac?
No. Okay. No.
Okay, Rebecca?
No.
Okay. Health insurance companies, their executives or their lobbies. Elizabeth.
No.
Isaac.
No.
Rebecca.
No.
Okay. Pharmaceutical companies, their executives or their lobbies.
No.
That was Elizabeth. Isaac.
No.
Rebecca.
No.
Okay. Did I say tobacco companies? No, I don't think so. Tobacco companies, their executives or their lobbies. Elizabeth.
No.
Isaac.
No.
Rebecca.
No.
Private prison companies, their executives or their lobbies. Elizabeth.
No.
Isaac.
No.
Rebecca.
Hell no.
Okay. Police unions or fraternal organizations. Elizabeth.
No.
Yes or no?
No.
Isaac.
No.
Rebecca.
I'm sorry, who was it?
Police unions or their fraternal
Hell
organizations?
no.
Okay. And okay, so prison guard unions. Elizabeth, yes or no?
No.
Isaac.
No.
Rebecca.
No.
Charter schools, their executives or their lobbies. Elizabeth.
No.
Isaac.
No.
Rebecca.
No.
Okay. Real estate developers and their business associates with past, present, or potentially future projects subject to discretionary approval by the candidate. Elizabeth.
No.
Isaac.
No.
Rebecca.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Individual or corporate contractors with past, present, or potentially future contracts subject to discretionary approval by the candidate. Elizabeth.
No.
Isaac.
No.
Rebecca.
I'm sorry, I'm getting pop-ups on my screen and I didn't catch the question.
Okay, the question was individual or corporate contractors with past, present, or potentially future contracts subject to discretionary approval by the candidate.
Hell no.
Okay. And last in this lightning part of the lightning round, for-profit business entities or their political action committees. Elizabeth.
No.
Isaac.
No.
And Rebecca.
No.
Okay. I'm noticing that, yeah, I think we are putting Elizabeth a little bit on the spot. So on the remainder here, well, I'm going to go into reverse order for the next several questions because it does put a little more pressure on Elizabeth going first always. So we'll try some here, reverse alphabetical order, and then we'll reverse it again. Okay. whom did you support? We're gonna go here, Rebecca, and then Isaac. You're gonna be the middleman here, Isaac, and then Elizabeth. Okay, so whom did you support in the 2017 California Democratic Party chair's race? Eric Bauman or Kimberly Ellis or someone else? Rebecca.
This is going to take more than one word because I was brand new to Feel the Burn Democratic Club. I didn't know how to discern who the progressive was. A woman came and spoke for Eric Bauman. I didn't vote for her. Kimberly Ellis spoke. I did not vote for her, but I voted for a gentleman who was a member of a union for 30 years or something. And I didn't know how to discern who was the most progressive.
So it was someone else, but you don't remember who the someone else was?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Isaac, same question. In 2017 in the CDP chair's race, was it Bauman, Ellis, or someone else for you?
Ellis.
Isaac? Are you there, Isaac?
Can you?
I can hear you now.
Can you now? Ellis. Ellis.
Hello.
Ellis.
Alice.
Ellis.
Oh, Ellis. Ellis.
Kimberly
Okay.
Ellis.
Okay. I was hearing
Kimberly
Alice.
Ellis.
I thought there was background noise. Okay. Okay. And Elizabeth, in 2017, Bauman, Ellis, or someone else?
Ellis.
Okay. And in 2019, same question. For the Democratic Party chair's race, whom did you support? Rusty
Kimberly
Hicks,
Ellis.
Kimberly Ellis, or someone else? We'll go with Rebecca, and she said Ellis. And then Isaac, who did you support?
Kimberly Ellis.
And Elizabeth.
Kimberly Ellis.
Kimberly.
Okay. Next question. We'll stay with reverse alpha for now. LACDP immediate past chair Eric Bauman was forced to resign as chair of the California Democratic Party November 29th, 2018, amid several allegations of sexual harassment and sexual assault. Should Mr. Bauman also have been forced to resign or face removal proceedings by LACDP? Rebecca, yes or no?
Absolutely.
And Isaac?
Well, yes.
And Elizabeth?
Yes, and he should be charged criminally.
Okay. Next question. Should LACDP pass a resolution calling on LA County Registrar Recorder Dean Logan to resign or be fired for leading the debacle that was the March 3rd election in LA County and or for his past failures too? Rebecca, yes or no?
Yes.
Isaac, yes or no?
Yes.
And Elizabeth?
Yes.
Next question. Should LACDP pass a resolution calling for LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva to resign for his scandals and failures of leadership? Rebecca?
Yes, especially waffling around on permanent abolishment of a carotid hold.
Okay, all
He
right.
can't make up his mind on that, then we're in trouble.
Okay, just a reminder, one word answers, yes or no, and then Isaac Villanueva, yes or no, should he resign? Or should LACDP pass a resolution calling for him to resign, I should say?
That too. Yes
you
to
said
both.
yes. Okay, and Elizabeth?
Yes.
Okay. Should LACDP pass a resolution calling on California Assembly Speaker Anthony Rendon to resign or be removed from office for failing to even allow consideration in the Assembly of SB 562, the Senate-passed bill for single-payer health care in California? Rebecca, yes or no?
Yes.
And Isaac, yes or no?
Yes, and investigated, prosecuted for corruption.
And Elizabeth?
If money doesn't.
Yes.
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 Okay. Next question. Should every LACDP member have the right to serve on at least one standing committee of LACDP if they so choose? Rebecca?
The people elected us. Absolutely yes.
All right. Isaac, yes or no?
Yes.
And Elizabeth?
Yes.
Okay. Next question, should every LACDP member have the right to serve on their preferred committee or committees, except to account for regional representation, with random drawing performed for any committee with too many volunteers? Rebecca, yes or no?
Yes.
And Isaac, yes or no?
Great idea.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that as a
Yes.
yes. And Elizabeth?
Yes.
Okay, and again, folks, I should say, when I say yes or no, I should say yes, no, or not sure. If you're not sure about any one of these, feel free to say not sure. Okay, next question. Should club representatives from local clubs of LACDP be made regular voting members of LACDP? And let me just clarify for audience members who may not know this. Currently, under the bylaws of LACDP, club representatives have only voice privileges on the general floor in LACDP meetings. They do not have motion privileges, and they do not have voting privileges on the general floor. They do if assigned to a committee, a standing committee, for instance, of LACDP. But on most votes, right, the votes taken on the floor, associate members, that is club representatives, or club representatives are associate members. There's another type of associate member that are chair appointed ones. But I'm talking about, or this question is talking about club representatives, those types of associate members from local clubs. Should they be made regular voting members of LACDP? Okay, so with that explanation given, Rebecca, yes, no, or not sure? Okay, Rebecca says yes. Isaac says?
Not sure.
Not sure. And Elizabeth says?
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Not sure. Okay. And next question. Should the name of the LACDP chair be removed from the return address label listed on official LACDP mailings and from the banner of other LACDP announcements meant to be from LACDP itself rather than from just its chair? Yes, no, or not sure. Rebecca?
That would seem proper.
Okay. And Isaac?
Yes.
And Elizabeth?
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe it is a clear conflict of interest for the executive director of LACDP to serve as a representative of and spokesperson for the election or re-election campaigns of any candidates for LACDP officer or other positions? Rebecca, yes, no, or not sure?
No.
And Isaac? Well, wait a sec. Again, just let's clarify. The question is, do you believe it is a clear conflict of interest
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
for the executive director to serve as a representative of and spokesperson for the election or re-election campaigns of candidates for LACDP officer or other positions?
Yes.
Okay, so Rebecca says yes, and Isaac says?
Yes, conflict of interest, yes.
And Elizabeth says?
Yes.
Okay. Next question. Do you believe a code of ethics should be adopted for members of LACDP? Rebecca? Yes? No?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Isaac? Are you there, Isaac?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Do you believe a code of ethics should be adopted for members of LACDP?
Code of ethics, yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. Elizabeth?
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe ethics training should be provided for paid staff members of LACDP? Rebecca? Yes,
Yes.
no, or not sure? Yes?
Yes.
And Isaac?
Yes.
And Elizabeth?
Yes.
Okay. Should LACDP mandate that its parliamentarian be or become a registered and approved member of the National Association of Parliamentarians? Rebecca?
Yes.
Isaac?
Yes.
Elizabeth?
Yes.
Okay. And should an LACDP banner or sign be placed over the UTLA logo at the lectern during our LACDP meetings? Rebecca?
If TV cameras are there, yes.
Isaac?
Yes.
Elizabeth?
Agree with Rebecca.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to reverse the order again. We'll go with back to regular. So this is going to put Elizabeth back on the hot seat first for the next few questions, and then we'll go back. Should LACDP continue its policy of only funding a small number of candidates, a select favored few, chosen for unexplained reasons, to the tune of thousands and even hundreds of thousands of dollars, instead of funding and or supporting through independent expenditures all LACDP candidates, including by reviving its mailer to voters that used to list all of those candidates? Yes, no, or not sure? Elizabeth?
No.
Okay, and Isaac
No.
and Rebecca.
I'm sorry, repeat the question. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna say
It's a
no.
little,
but-
it's a little confusing. I apologize for the confusion, but it says, should LACDP continue its policy of only funding a small number of candidates?
No, hell no.
Okay. And next question is LACDP candidate endorsement application form mandates that candidates check off a box stating, quote unquote, I have reviewed the latest California Democratic Party platform. Should that sentence be changed to read, I have reviewed and agreed to abide by the latest California Democratic Party platform? Elizabeth
Yes.
and Isaac
Not sure.
and Rebecca.
Yes,
Okay. Should any LACDP endorsed candidate, once elected, fail to abide by the California Democratic Party platform, do you support revocation of that candidate's endorsement? Elizabeth, yes, no, or not sure?
I'm not sure on that one.
Isaac
Sorry, I have to say yes. Yes, yes.
and Rebecca.
yes,
Article 2, Section C, 4.1 of the LACDP bylaws states that LACDP members who support a non-Democratic Party candidate for public office shall have their LACDP membership terminated. However, this bylaw has not been enforced against LACDP members who routinely support non-Democrats, including Republicans, in nonpartisan races. Should this bylaw, like all LACDP bylaws, be enforced?
Yes.
Yes, no, we're not sure. Elizabeth
Yes.
and Isaac
Yes, but not
And-
selected.
and Rebecca.
yes.
Okay. Next question. LACDP did not record nor share the PowerPoints from its two LACDP 2020-2024 orientation sessions. Does this demonstrate a lack of assistance and transparency? Elizabeth,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
and Rebecca.
Yes,
We'll go back to reverse alphabetical order, starting with Rebecca, Isaac, Elizabeth. Next question. Despite the motion at our LACDP organizational meeting on July 11, LACDP Executive Director Drexel Hurd is refusing to provide member contact info free of charge to all candidates for LACDP positions. He is still demanding payment from candidates for the office of Regional Vice Chair, for instance. Should Regional Vice Chair candidates, Regional Secretary candidates, and soon candidates to be part of the LACDP delegation to the California Democratic Party be given free access to member contact info per the successful motion passed on July 11?
yes,
Rebecca says yes, and Isaac
Yes.
and Elizabeth.
Yes.
Okay, next question. LACDP sells our member contact information to third parties. Should members have to opt in to have their personal information sold to third parties? Rebecca,
yes,
Isaac,
Yes.
and Elizabeth.
Yes.
And next question, should LACDP adopt a bylaws change to allow vacated seats to be filled first by the 8th place finisher, then the 9th place finisher, etc., and only rely on Assembly District delegation appointments when vacancies or candidates from the last election have been exhausted? We'll go with Rebecca first here.
absolutely yes.
And Isaac.
Yes.
And Elizabeth.
Yes.
Okay, final question of the lightning round. Should brief regional reports be delivered at every regular LACDP meeting by regional vice chairs or their member representatives? Rebecca.
Well, since the regional vice chair meetings are only once every 2 months, maybe once every 2 months instead of every month.
Okay, Isaac.
Yes.
And Elizabeth.
Yes.
Okay, so now we go to maybe my favorite question, because it really does shed some light on you as people. It's a 1-minute bonus question, if you will. And here is the question. This is before the closing statement, and it goes as follows. And we will go here. We did, let's go to the order of Isaac, Elizabeth, and Rebecca. Okay, Isaac, Elizabeth, Rebecca. Isaac, you're going to go first with 1 minute. Let me get my timer ready here. Okay. And the question is, before we ask for your closing statement, in 1 minute, what other thing or things might you like for us to know about you? This can be anything, personal or political, familial or worldly, important or merely interesting. Whatever you'd like to share about yourself with us. And Isaac, you have 1 minute.
I played
there,
Snoopy and You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown when I was 14. I fell in love with acting. I never really wanted to be famous, but I did pursue that career for many years because of the thrill of pretending to be someone else in front of a bunch of others. And I think I was very shy, and the overcoming the terror of getting up in front of people was such a kind of like a drug rush that I was bitten. And now I have the same kind of stage fright whenever I have to talk in front of people, but because of the corruption and the deaths of 70,000 people every year, the horrific murders by cops, and the failure of our country to live up to the Constitution's promise, I forced myself to speak up. Thank you.
Thank you, Isaac. Okay, let me repeat the question for Elizabeth. Okay, before we ask for your closing statement, Elizabeth, in 1 minute, what other thing or things might you like for us to know about you? This can be anything, personal or political, familial or worldly, important or merely interesting. Whatever you'd like to share about yourself with us for a minute.
Okay. I know I didn't talk too much about my background, but I did grow up in Long Beach. I went to school out here in Long Beach from elementary to high school. Also, I studied music. My teacher studied from Juilliard, so I did study piano for 10 years. And then also I played in band in high school. I played clarinet and saxophone. And then I'm also a dancer. I did Polynesian dance from the time I was a young kid up until my 40s. And then also, I also do belly dance as well. So music and belly dance are just one of my loves. And it also helps me to, because I am shy as well, like Isaac, and it's very difficult for me to talk. So dancing and performing actually helps me to just kind of put myself out there. And so yeah, that's something different about me. Thank you.
Okay, no, thank you, Elizabeth. That's great. Okay, and Rebecca, I'll repeat the question for you too. So before we ask for your closing statement, Rebecca, in 1 minute, what other thing or things might you like for us to know about you? This can be anything, personal or political, familial or worldly, important or merely interesting. Whatever you'd like to share about yourself with us for 1 minute, whenever you start.
Well, since this is about the 7th time I've ever given a speech in public, but I have been singing in public since I was 5 years old. So I am a singer. I come from a musical family, and that's.
You got 35 seconds to say whatever you want.
All right. I'll also throw in my parents are members of. My 83-year-old parents are members of the climate lobby. And they went to Washington, D.C. a year ago at 83 years old, 82, whatever, to lobby our politicians for the climate. That's all. Thank you.
Sing it, Rebecca. Sing it.
Yeah. You have 5 seconds. You can sing us a song.
Sing it.
Well, no, but thank you, Rebecca. That was great. I guess that's everyone for that question. Okay, that was wonderful learning more about you. And so now, let me stop this stopwatch. Okay, so now we're going to move to the 3-minute closing statement. And since we went with alpha order to begin with, let us go in reverse alpha order this time. Hopefully Rebecca won't mind going first. We'll have 3 minutes for each of you. Rebecca getting 3, Isaac getting 3, and then Elizabeth getting 3. And that will then conclude the regular portion of our forum, and it would be basically ending pretty much right on time because we started a little bit late. And then at that point, it'll be up to the candidates and the audience if they'd like to do extended Q&A from the floor. Anyway, take it away, Rebecca, for the next 3 minutes for your closing statement. We'd love to hear.
Thank you, Paul, for your gracious hosting and everyone who has put this together. I guess what's on my heart is that the issues of systemic racism still so rampant with us. I've been watching the proceedings in Portland. I 100% support Black Lives Matter's fight against police violence, and they're calling for us to create an economy of care. That was coined by Patrice Cullors, co-founder of Black Lives Matter. With this pandemic, I'm sick at heart about all those that are losing small businesses and jobs with their health care tied to their employment, the hunger of children, the unhoused whose numbers are going to grow. And I feel that LACDP needs to hold all persons we endorse to a commitment to single-payer health care, Medicare for all, which is already part of the California Democratic Party platform. I consider myself a unifying candidate because I can listen to many perspectives. Let's see. And Ralph Nader said COVID-19 is, where'd it go? Oh no, I can't find my quote. It's violence against the Black community. The racial disparities in police violence, housing, healthcare, infant and maternal mortality in the Los Angeles area, and wealth inequality is just, it cannot stand. New voices need to be welcome in LACDP and not sidelined. I have membership and endorsements from Democratic clubs in Region 2. And lastly, I want to help increase transparency in the election process for LACDP officers and the regional and district positions so that LACDP is attracting new people, young people that can be registered to vote for Democrats so that we are more welcoming to new ideas, new people that want to do the work and help make the Democratic Party stronger. I sincerely appreciate your vote for Regional Vice Chair, LACDP Region 2 on August 1st. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Rebecca. And next up in reverse alphabetical order for closing statements for 3 minutes is Isaac Lieberman.
Thank you again, Paul, and thank you, Rebecca, for the wonderful specificity of your campaign statement. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. So some of my heroes are Cornel West. I strongly encourage you, if you don't know him, listen to his podcast. At times like these, when it's so challenging not to fall into despair, Cornel West's brilliance and his soul and his passion and his musical appreciation are just so beautifully inspiring. Donald Trump is obviously a criminal who belongs long prison now and did long before he set foot in office, violating our Constitution since the day he did. The way to get rid of him was not to wait years and then attempt to impeach him on one, ignoring maybe a dozen impeachable offenses.
Yeah.
But as Jimmy Dore likes to call him, or Dylan Radigan, he's the village idiot. How did he get in power?
Yeah.
It's not just a fluke that person became our president. And if we make the mistake of going back to what brought us here, instead of moving forward to progressive justice, racial justice, environmental justice, social justice, and economic justice, to making the country and the government honor the First Amendment and Declaration of Independence, all are created equal, endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights, and among those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. There are many others, all of which are being violated by the criminal in the White House, but we're also being violated by both political parties. My name's Isaac Lieberman, union RN, working night shift, an environmentalist, political chair with Sierra Club in the past. I want you guys to know that if you stand for the corrupt status quo in the party and our government, where the greedy billionaires and their corporations, the GBC, like the Koch brothers, Richard Mellon Scaife, the Mercers, and Michael Bloomberg too, are in control, manipulate everything for their benefit and the detriment of the 99%, then sticking with the current leadership of the party is fine. But if you want to save the lives, 70,000 people annually save $450 billion every single year. In doing so, by providing single-payer universal health care as a human right. If you believe science is a valid way to discover what's happening, you understand the threat of the climate crisis, you support the robust Green New Deal to get us off fossil fuels, provide millions of good-paying jobs with a federal jobs guarantee, Medicare for all, then you got to throw the bums out, so to speak.
All right. I got to cut you off, Isaac.
Thank you. Both
All right.
me, Isaac Lieberman.
Yay.
And
All right, thank
Rebecca
you.
Wolfersberger and Elizabeth Castillo, thank you.
Okay. And speaking of Elizabeth Castillo, she is going to get the last word tonight. Well, at least for the closing statements. It's up to the candidates if they want to do extended Q&A from the floor after this. But okay, we will start with Elizabeth whenever she does for 3 minutes for her closing statement.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Paul, for inviting me, and thank you, everybody, for having me on tonight. And so what I want to say is, right, this year and the last year, these past few years actually have been some of the most difficult times that I've experienced. And 2020, wow, I just can't believe what's happening with this pandemic. It has really brought to light the disparities in our nation. But I knew that they already existed. I've known this since I was a kid, because when I went to school, I went through a lot of racism even in elementary, being called a wetback, being called a beaner. So I knew it was always there. I grew up with that. So I'm not surprised we are where we are. And so the structural racism, I mean, the only way I believe that this is going to end is through ending capitalism. That's the only way, because it's all about money. And these corporations have taken over our party. And you know, we have to fight our party to go back to what it used to be and push them to the left, and endorse a platform that's going to be for the people that are struggling. In my district, the 33rd that I'm running for the Senate, and AD 63, because those two districts overlap, are struggling. There's environmental injustices happening there, even worse than Flint. People are being poisoned, people have cancer, people are dying. And right now they're working on privatizing the water for our district as well. So, and healthcare is definitely one of the biggest things. People don't have healthcare, they're gonna die. People are dying every day because of that. And so we have to push our party leaders to adopt a platform of healthcare for all, rent forgiveness, mortgage forgiveness, education for all, and militarism. We need to, all that money that's going to the military and the police, that needs to end. And we need that money for the people and help them with their needs, with healthcare, mental health, food, rent. And so I believe if I'm nominated and elected for regional chair, that I can help push our party to the left and bring people in. And so thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, thank you, Elizabeth. You finished with a little spare time. If you want to take 15 seconds, you still have them. But no, I mean, we'll go to extended Q&A. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And okay, so just to kind of, so we are concluded with the regular part of our forum tonight. But what we did not do, right, during the Q&A portion was open it up to the floor, which we had wanted to do, but, and we still would like to do, but it's going to be up to the candidates, the three here tonight, if they would like to take questions from the floor, because we've concluded the regular portion and we were basically right on time. It took about, I think, 33 minutes per candidate. We took about an hour and 40 minutes or so for this regular part of the forum. The last couple of times, though, the candidates were gracious enough to stick around for questions from the floor. And so they're welcome to do that again. But just to explain why, I should probably do this, why we did what we did and how we did it. So we got the questions from you, okay? We solicited questions a few weeks ago. And so we pulled from the questions that we got, and we had to modify them and change them and sort them and organize them and all that good stuff. But we wanted to be as comprehensive as possible, right? And the reason is that, to our knowledge, there has never been any forum for candidates for LACDP office, at least in recent history. And so we wanted to allow people the opportunity to hear from candidates and allow candidates to, talk for longer than 5 minutes to voters, the voters of LACDP, because that's the way it currently is, right? The way it currently is, if you're running for a regional vice chair, you'll get 5 minutes on August 1st in a monologue. And we believe, though, that democracy should be a dialogue and a multi-logue. And that candidates should have to be asked questions and have to answer questions, not just give a brief speech. And so we wanted to structure it that the candidates would have at least 25 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, maybe 33 is tonight, to do Q&A with all of you. And so that's why we created these forums. And on Saturday, August 1st, the regional secretaries will also get 2 minutes to speak. I should note that. However, they are not officers of LACDP. The regional vice chairs are officers of LACDP. They serve on the policy committee, which operates like an executive board of LACDP. And so we also didn't do the AD chair or vice chair races, but we have over the last few weeks done the LACDP countywide offices, which are chair, self-identified female vice chair, other than self-identified female vice chair, corresponding secretary, recording secretary, and controller. I should note that we only had 4 candidates, though, for the previous forum night. We had Maria Estrada, who's running for chair of LACDP on night 1. Nobody came on night 2, so we kind of had a free forum with all of us. And then on night 3, we had appear Roberto Alvarez, who is running for other than self-identified female vice chair. We had Linda Bassett, who's running for self-identified female vice chair. And we had Melissa Michelson, who's running for corresponding secretary. No other candidates came. And we were obviously very disappointed that they did not. We made numerous public and private attempts to get a hold of them. And we had received confirmation from Mark Gonzalez, for instance, that he was going to come from 7 to 8 p.m. On night one for himself, just with himself. But unfortunately, that changed. And then he and his slate wanted to just be having an hour all for themselves, all 6 of themselves. And we said, that's not fair to you, and it's not fair to our attendees, our audience, our voters. We wanted a much more fulsome and thorough, forum. Well, then at 4:13, Drexel Hurd, the executive director of LACDP, who has been operating as their representative and spokesperson for their election and re-election campaigns for LACDP officer positions, notified us that Mark Gonzalez would not be able to attend. And then at 4:15, a campaign event email went out to everyone that was on the email list of Mark Gonzalez and his slate, stating that the next night during our forum would be a special campaign event for them. So that went out at 4:15. We then proceeded to exchange emails, trying to say, well, hey, look, come later. They chose not to. After their campaign event concluded, they chose not to come on the following Friday night, nor last Friday night, which was night 3, and the last night of our county-wide officer forums. But we wanted to open it up for regional vice chair now these next 2 weeks. So next Friday night, we'll host another round of this for any candidates who did not come tonight, chose not to, or could not, to give them another opportunity to do so before the election the next day on Saturday, August 1st. So spread the word, ask, cajole, coax, whatever you can do to get candidates to come, because otherwise all voters will know is a 5-minute speech. And also too, I should note, various candidates for countywide officer positions and for regional vice chair have been reaching out to voters privately, individually. However, it is our belief that things should be public and open and transparent, and that we should be able to hold accountable candidates for what they say and do after they've been elected. And so that is why we feel it's important to do a public forum where they are publicly asked questions and have to publicly answer questions. And so that's why I particularly want to thank Elizabeth Castillo and Rebecca Wolfersberger and Isaac Lieberman for coming tonight to, quite frankly, subject themselves to some Q&A. It was not, I don't think they would agree, the Spanish Inquisition, but we did want to ask them some good, tough questions and let you get to know them better, and let them have more than 5 minutes to talk about themselves, 3-minute opening, 3-minute closing, and a 1-minute bonus question. So 7 minutes total where it's unfiltered. They can talk about themselves and their campaigns and their campaign messages. So that's why we did what we did, and why we're doing what we're doing, and why we will do what we will do next Friday night. This may become a regular thing, Friday night forums for LACDP. As I say, it's unofficial, it's independent. We are not doing this under the auspices of LACDP. We are just LACDP members who wanted to ask questions of candidates and get some answers, and let them speak to us also for about 7 minutes unfiltered. So that is my little spiel, but it's all up to you if you would like to continue. I don't know, we booked it until 9, but we can have it until 9, or whenever the candidates get tired or you get tired, or maybe Denis, who's officially our host, gets tired, and he can always pass the baton off to me for hosting duties. But are you there, Denis?
Questions.
I'm sorry, Denis, what?
We do have people waiting to ask questions.
Yeah, great. Okay, so if the candidates are all willing, or if 1 or 2 or all 3 of them are willing, we can proceed to questions from the floor. I don't know if we want to keep it to 1-minute answers or 2-minute answers. I don't know how many questions we have, or just kind of let it be free flowing. Maybe we just let it be free flowing since it's 8:08. And I would ask the candidates, though, to not drone on and on and on and on. But we can be a little looser in the questions from the floor here, I think, if the candidates are willing.
I'm happy to. If people need to take a bathroom break, feel free to block yourself off and go.
Yes, that is true. All right. So what are the questions from the floor, Dennis? I haven't been monitoring the chat too carefully here.
Cinta, do you want to go? Should be able to. Okay. you go.
My question for the candidates is, the American Israeli Political Action Committee has been giving free trips to Israel for elected officials. Would you accept a free trip, free all expense paid trip to Israel from the American Israeli Political Action Committee? And if you don't accept the trip, how would you respond to people that call you anti-Semitic for refusing?
Okay, thank you
I
for
can
your
answer
question,
that.
Jacinta, and we can take it in any order that the candidates want to take it.
I would say no, definitely would not take money from AIPAC to go to Israel. I know that some of our Democratic leaders have taken that trip, and they've taken some of their staff with them. Anthony Rendon is one of them. And so as far as being called anti-Semitic, no, I'm pro-Jewish. I'm just against what their government is doing to the Palestinians. And it's genocide, and I'm totally against that, and I think our Democratic Party should be against that as well and stop taking money from AIPAC.
Okay.
Thank you.
And thank you, Elizabeth. Rebecca or Isaac, take this?
Yes. No, I would not. I had to take ethical training every 2 years with the LA County. If I even took a little small gift from a child on my caseload, I had to report it. This is not ethical to be accepting these kinds of gifts, in my opinion. And I am I'm against apartheid, and I'm against genocide. Those are my values.
Okay. Thank you, Rebecca. And Isaac, would you like to comment on this question as well? Are you muted or unmuted? You're muted right now, Isaac.
What did AOC do? I would research that. And I'm guessing I would follow lead on that.
You're not being
On that.
asked what AOC did. The question is, what would you do?
Right. So my answer is I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. Is that it, Isaac?
Oh yeah. I mean, I can talk a little bit more about it if you like, but I don't. It's really salient at the moment. Regional Vice Chair position.
So you might possibly accept a gift from the American Israeli Political Action Committee to Israel?
I don't know about a gift, but I would like to visit Israel. So
you would accept an all-expense paid trip?
From AIPAC? Probably not. Probably not. I have I think Benjamin Netanyahu, the minister of Israel, is almost as Donald Trump in terms of his corruption, militarism, and I think that AIPAC is outrageously supportive of him, and I think the two political parties have been far too amenable to that corruption, and so I probably would not, but I would have to look into it. As far as being called anti, I think I would against an opposition accepting the trip by explaining that I oppose corruption in all its forms, and the willy-nilly use of big money to tantalize and tempt and legally bribe politicians all across this country. I oppose 100%, and to suggest that standing up for that principle somehow impugns my love and respect for the dignity of all people is an outrageously inaccurate accusation.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Isaac. Do we have another question from the floor, Dennis, in the chat, or anybody at this point could unmute themselves if
Carrie Scoville is up next.
Carrie Scoville. Carrie came. She was able to come after all.
Hi.
There she is, my co-host. All right.
Hi, Paul. You did a great job.
Well, thank you, but I missed you. I wanted my partner in questioning crime, as it were. And your mom, Julia, is joining us too. So thank you for joining us, Mom. And do you or Mom have a question?
Hi, Linda. Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
First of all, I really want to thank Isaac, Rebecca, and Liz Castillo for running. Thank you for standing up and doing this. This takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of commitment. And I really, I respect you all for doing that. This is a great job. My question is, as regional chair or vice chair, one of the major items, job descriptions that the party puts out is fundraising. My question is, what are your ideas for fundraising for the party? And also, what are your recommendations that maybe, do you have any recommendations to the party for their fundraising? Maybe things to change or things to expand or things to do differently? So what are your plans for fundraising yourself, and what do you have any recommendations for the party in regards to fundraising?
Okay, I think Isaac got if we're gonna go reversing up order, maybe Isaac should go first on this, and then Rebecca, and then Liz.
Okay.
Are you there, Isaac? I mean, we don't have to stay in the order. Candidates can take these extra questions in whatever order.
That's okay. Tom Perez, chair of the Democratic National Committee, sold off our committee to $65 million Republican mayor of New York, Michael Bloomberg. Because Michael Bloomberg didn't want to pay his fair share of taxes. Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders and others were proposing a wealth tax. Louis Brandeis, why is it we can have democracy or we can have huge kinds of wealth in the hand of few, but we can't have both. I get the money from Michael Bloomberg. Thank you.
Okay, Isaac, thank you. And if maybe Rebecca wants to go next.
This is not really my strong suit. I understand that I'll be asked to raise money, and I'm going to let the party train me how to do that. I'm a regular person. I'm not a fundraiser. I'm not a big money person. But if I'm asked to do something that's not transparent or abridges the rights of other members, I will call the chair out. So basically, I need for whatever we do to be ethical. I'm not going to ask for people's money if we are not providing value back to the people. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Rebecca. And Elizabeth, you want to comment on this question?
Yeah, that's a hard one for me too. I'm not. I think I've done couple of fundraisers like for Maria Estrada for her campaign, but it was basically community people that I invited. I can't see money from corporations. That needs to change. and we need our party to go to the left and change how they do things. And it has to be grassroots. It has to be from people from the community, but we also have to, stand by what we believe in, our platform, to Medicare for all, education for all, environment, and the military industrial complex. And if we can't do that, then it's really hard to do, to bring that to the people if we're not doing what we should be doing for the communities. And we can't ask for money and not be, take policies that are going to be for the community. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of a difficult one because I know that they're really in the corporate, in the pockets of the corporation. So we have to really, really push them to end that and be a corporate-free committee, basically. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. And next question, Dennis.
Linda Bassett, go ahead.
Hi, my question is about your local politics. As a regional director, you have to know who's running in your region for local seats. We're not talking about state, we're not talking about national. And so how well do you know the local city councils in your region? Do you know what kind of problems exist with some of the people that you will be having to endorse? And how do you foresee overcoming problems with endorsing a candidate that you know is, say, corrupt? And do you know any that are corrupt in your region already?
I'll take that. I counted up, there's 31 cities, including parts of Los Angeles in my region too, which encompasses the entire San Fernando Valley. So I have not gotten to all the 31 city councils. I have lots of room to be educated about who we're dealing with here, and I'm definitely open to those that know more than me. I listened on to a radio town hall the other night with my person, Bob Blumenfield from Canoga Park, the other night, talking about homelessness, and it seems to me like he's just now jumping on the Black Lives Matter bandwagon. And I don't know corruption of any of the city councils around, but that's an area that I need to learn. I need to be aware of, and assembly district chairs need to be out doing city council meetings. They need to know what's going on in the city councils and report back to us at LACDP so that we have a sense of what's going on. I will not raise money for a corrupt candidate. That's just, I flat out won't. Or someone that doesn't verbally commit to Medicare for all. I just won't do it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. And Isaac or Elizabeth, whoever wants to take the question next.
I agree with Rebecca, although I don't think we have any as many different cities in our district as she has in hers. Most of our local electeds are Republicans, so working to get Democrats and Democratic Socialists and running for those seats is something I'm very interested in helping to accomplish. But if Democrats are not supporting healthcare, I, again, like Rebecca, have a difficult time supporting them.
Liz?
Hey, so great question, Linda. Yeah, so and our local city councils, I mean, I know for the 63rd Assembly District, which is under Region 7, there is extreme corruption in many of the cities in that district. I mean, I would say almost every city council member for each of those cities of the 63rd. I have not seen where there's not some type of corruption going on. And then it actually, between the local city council members and to the assembly members, they're all connected. It's kind of a web, what I have seen. And so we really have to inspire people to, progressives, people to the left, to run for these offices and get these people out of our city council. And you know, there are a few who are running. Progressive, young, they're young people who are running for city council members, for city council. And so I'm very inspired by them. And so we really have to support them and help them with, you know, with their campaigns, with their funding. They're grassroots activists. And I really believe that we need to help them with their campaigns, get them in. And as far as, you know, anybody that's corrupt, fundraising, no, I cannot do. I refuse. I would refuse to do that.
The trick is getting them endorsed by our region or our ADs. And when we're outnumbered by the establishment people in our, you know, there's, I don't know, Isaac, I think you're the only person who's a majority burner, right?
I think you're talking about the 36th Assembly District and how we got elected a majority of the elected representatives or members for our district. And that's true. Unfortunately, they still outnumbered us in the AD delegation with appointed and yeah.
But we should be aware of that, you know, collusion and corruption that's going on and dig it out as we go. Because as Maria's found here in the 63rd, man, if we're any you know, measure, if people are even half of what's going on here is going on in your area, and you may not just be aware of it. That's all. It's wow. What's going on at Central Water Basin is like, boom. It's mind blowing.
We want to expose it and publicize it, and as well as remind the party and the leadership what has been mentioned a couple of times, which is Bernie won our state big time. Not only that, but Bernie's issues won nationwide, even in the places where he didn't actually win the votes. But here in California, there's no question. Medicare for all, the Green New Deal, tuition-free public college, cancellation of student debt, racial justice, environmental justice, social justice, and economic justice is what the vast majority of the people and the Democrats want. And so we need to call out all of the leaders in this party, every one of them who are opposing the justice that we're fighting for, and point out to them, remind them, this is what we need to be fighting for.
Right.
They're not fighting
our state.
What's
Thank you. Good. Thank you. I guess my time's
Well,
up.
no, I mean, this is a little more free form flowing, Linda, if you wanted to say something else.
No, that's it. Thank you so much for those answers. I appreciate it.
Okay. And Dennis, who's up next in the chat?
Henry, before I move, I just got one request. If you have a question, please use the raise hand feature in the participants window. And we'll go and see.
It's not there.
It's not there.
I'm thinking you're probably using an iOS device, but that wasn't directed at you, Henry. That was just for everybody. Anyway, Henry, take it away.
Okay, I wanted to give my question a little bit of context because we've had incidents within the California Democratic Party of harassment and bullying of Latina activists, and we're all aware of some of these events that have recently happened. More recently, there has been an accusation against a delegate in our region for sexual harassment. I think when we look at party leaders pick and choose who they support, and if it's other folks, they really have no action. So I'm wondering what steps you would take in guaranteeing a safe and harassment-free environment for women of color at LACDP events.
Okay, and so any order here, candidates can answer in.
I would start by researching the recent changes at the California Democratic Party level that they have contemplated and discussed and instituted at the state party level in the wake of the chair's harassment and assault. And I haven't seen what those are, but I think it would be a good place to start. And if they need to be strengthened, work to strengthen them. And if they look to be a good place to institute those policies, I bring them to the county committee as well.
I have worked in institutions for 30 years that all had sexual harassment policies, zero tolerance in place. So if this party's policies are not strong enough to confront whatever sexual harassment is happening right now, then they, like Isaac is saying, they need to be strengthened. When those are, yeah, I don't know what else. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So, and I'm also attending some national association, rather some parliamentary procedure trainings that are teaching us how we can change some of the bylaws of LACDP if we need to do so. And we are coming in armed with some of that information. Even if we're inexperienced, we know there are ways that we can make the power very uncomfortable if they are not enforcing sexual harassment policies. Thank you.
If I can just jump in here for any of you who joined us late, I see at least Miguel Martinez, I think, just recently joined us. Welcome to an extended Q&A portion with the three candidates who were gracious enough to stay longer after time here for extra time, overtime for this Q&A forum. We concluded the regular portion about 8 o'clock because there were just three candidates. And so now we're in overtime. Okay, and we are just taking free questions from the floor. So if you, Miguel Martinez, or anybody else who joined late wants to ask a question, you can put it in the chat, raise your hand in the chat feature or otherwise. And then the candidates are just answering them. We're not putting a time limit on them. Just one at a time. They can answer questions as they wish from each of you. So Isaac or Liz, you want to take this question?
I'm
Okay.
sorry, which
question?
I answered the last question, and Rebecca did. Is Elizabeth Castillo still here? Does she want to?
Yeah, so as far as sexual harassment, I think we need stronger policies against that, like a zero tolerance policy. I'm, as a sexual assault nurse, there's a lot of training that goes into
for that. And I think that it requires a lot of education. You know, nurses have to be educated on sexual assault, sexual abuse, sexual harassment. And I think that, you know, people need a lot of training and education on that. I think, ooh, sorry, there was a fly. So I think that's very important. And then a zero tolerance policy. And then for the people who protect those ones that are doing it, who know, they need to be held accountable also. And that's what I have seen, you know, in big organizations like the Catholic Church, the universities, the U.S. Olympics, where, you know, women were being sexually harassed, sexually abused, and then the other people who were aware of it. And so they need to be held accountable.
Trim your nails?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so those people need to be held accountable as well. And so we do need policies against that. If there's people who have known about this, they need to go. They need to go along with the predator, the abuser. That's what I believe.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. And I guess that was everybody for that question, right? I think.
Yes.
Okay, so next up in the chat feature, Denis.
Cinta.
I've been with my hands out for a while. What's up?
Oh.
Hello?
Had her hand up first, though.
Hello?
Go for it.
Okay. I just wanted a clarification from Isaac because I was a little confused. So if Netanyahu was not prime minister and had nothing to do with the government of Israel, would you accept an all-expense paid trip from the American-Israeli Political Action Committee to Israel in your position as a delegate to the Democratic Central Committee?
No.
Okay. And did you need that clarification from the other respondents?
Yeah, I think they clarified they clarified. I was just confused by Isaac's because he talked about how bad
Oh, we can't hear you now, Jacinta. Are you there? Hello, hello, hello. I think you've dropped off. I swear it was not us. There's some kind of technical glitch.
Blame it on Trump.
Are you there, Jacinta? Hello, hello. Well, we can come back. Are you there? No? Why don't we go to Roberto for now, and if Jacinta comes back, we can go back to her. Was Roberto next though, Denis?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. So Roberto, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here and thank you for hosting this event. My question is to all the three candidates. Do you commit to develop and implement and add policies, rules, and regulations to the Constitution and bylaws of the LACDP to create a new culture of responsibility, ethics, and justice within the LACDP?
Okay. Whomever wants to take that question first, Rebecca, Elizabeth, Isaac.
There's different
I'm sorry,
schools.
the art.
Go ahead.
Please, Rebecca, you go ahead. The audio was not good and I didn't get a clear hearing of what the question was.
Oh.
Okay, there's different schools of thought. Some are that we need to play nice and just go along to get along so we can fit into their culture, and I don't think that's going to work for progressives. We're going to be making some noise, and if the bylaws are not allowing us to be heard, we're going to change the bylaws.
Okay, thank you, Rebecca. And we can repeat the question for you, Isaac. Roberto, would you like to repeat the question for Isaac?
Can you hear me now, Isaac?
Yes, you cut in and out a little bit.
So the question is, do you commit to develop and implement and add policies, rules, and regulations to the constitutions and bylaws of the LACDP to create a new culture of responsibility, ethics, and justice within the LACDP?
Do I commit to changing, to working to change the rules to create a culture of justice within the county committee? Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. That's what I'm there for. Justice and accountability, though, because I think, you know, the first thought is we have to get single payer health care as a human right on the platform. We find out that's already been done, and yet we keep endorsing and supporting wealthy and well-connected elected officials for re-election, despite their treachery when it comes to that crucial policy. We need to figure out ways to use the rules and the bylaws and change them as necessary, as Rebecca pointed out, in order to be able to hold accountable those electeds and get rid of them if they continue to behave in a corrupt manner by taking money from industries and then being against the interests of their constituents or blocking votes that would be in the interests of their constituents, a way that benefits economically those who gave them money. That's corruption. They belong in prison, not endorsed by the county committee. And I support investigation and a state-based modification of the corruption laws that don't subscribe to the SCOTUS 5's corrupt interpretation of what campaign financing is acceptable. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Isaac. And Elizabeth, or are you there, Elizabeth?
Sorry. So yeah, I mean, definitely would commit to that, to changing policies and rules. I mean, we really need to change the culture of basically, like what Isaac said, the corruption that's been going on for forever. And the only, you know, if we don't change the bylaws to, you know, to change this culture, then we're going to be stuck where we are. So yeah, definitely, I will commit to that if elected. Thank you.
I think Jacinta is back on. Do you want to see if she can ask her question now?
Yeah, I just responded in the chat. She said that she fell off. I don't know if she's back with audio. She missed your answer, lost the internet connection. Paul, do you have a recording? And I just replied, just for the benefit of everyone, especially those who joined late, we are recording this and we will post this. Hopefully we can do it tonight or tomorrow. It does take some time to download and upload, but yeah, I see Angel Izzard has joined us. Welcome, Angel. We are in extended Q&A time. We finished early because there were only 3 candidates who came, and so they were gracious enough to stick around for overtime, as it were, here on our Friday night forums, unofficial, independent LACDP candidate forums. So, is Jacinta still there or no? She is still lost somewhere in cyberspace. Are you there, Jacinta?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
You are here. Okay, so we were clarifying with Isaac or the others regarding your APAC question, and if they wanted to comment further, or if you wanted to clarify further.
Yes, I missed Isaac's answer because I totally got disconnected, because I was confused by his answer, because it seemed, the first answer I heard, because it seemed to me that he was saying that his problem wasn't with AIPAC, it was with Netanyahu and his government. And so I asked, if Netanyahu were not in office and had nothing, was not sitting on Knesset, would Isaac accept a trip from AIPAC, an all expense paid trip, to Israel.
Okay.
I said no.
And Isaac says you said no, Isaac? Are you there, Isaac?
I'm here. I heard you say that I said no, and I said no. And
Okay.
was there?
No, I just, okay, just, yeah, all right. And so, okay. And did any of the other candidates want to comment further?
Well, Paul, there was a second part to the question. How would Isaac respond to people that either called him anti-Semitic for that refusal or a self-hating Jew?
Oh, okay. If Isaac wants to take that, and the others would be free to take it as well.
I think I did answer that. I did answer that, and okay. I'm going to try to remember what I said because, to be honest, I was pretty proud of how it came out. You said it's recorded, right?
Yes, it is recorded. Yes, it is.
I would say if I can, I'll try to remember what I said. It was if someone accuses me being anti-Semitic because I'm standing up for the ideals of democracy and the opposition to corruption by big money being spread around to bribe people, even if the SCOTUS 5 pretends that it's legal and not corrupt, etc. The rest of us know that's a lie. To suggest that I, when I stand up against that corruption, that it somehow impugns the idea that I believe that every human being and every people across the planet deserves to be with the same dignity and respect. That is an outrageous accusation coming out of a magical thinking playbook that has no basis in reality. I said it better the first time.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Isaac. And does anybody else want to take that second or third opportunity on that question? Liz or Rebecca?
No.
Okay. Liz?
I think I answered it, as far as, no, I wouldn't take any money from AIPAC. I'll just say it again. And, a lot of their policies are basically hurting and killing people, especially Palestinians. And I don't agree with that. And I think Netanyahu's government is corrupt. I think he's corrupt, and he's committing genocide on Palestinians and apartheid. So yeah, I definitely, and it's sad that our own government is supporting that, and yeah, that breaks my heart. And what they're doing, they actually just bombed one of their hospitals just a few days ago. So they're basically trying to kill Palestinians. That's what they're doing, actually. So yeah, I just totally disagree with what with our Democratic leaders being involved with AIPAC and taking money from them and going on these trips to Israel. I totally disagree with that, and we shouldn't accept that. Thank you.
Okay. And
boycotting Israeli products?
I'm sorry, Jacinta, what?
Would the candidates join people that are currently boycotting Israeli products because of apartheid?
Okay, if the candidates want to answer that one at a time.
I would.
Okay, Rebecca?
That's all I'm going to say on that.
Oh, that you would. So you would support a boycott? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Isaac or Liz?
Yes, definitely, and I support BDS as well.
BDS standing for boycott,
Divestment,
sanction, right?
sanction, yes. And that was,
Okay.
I mean, that comes from, South Africa, apartheid. So, yeah, definitely.
Okay, and Isaac on that question?
Is the question, do I support the BDS movement against Israel? If that's the question, then the answer is no, although I absolutely support the right of Americans to support that movement. And I was outraged of the Democratic Party leader attempt to pass legislation that would outlaw it.
Okay. All right. So yeah. Thank you for that answer.
And I'd like to add, I also
Sure.
support Bernie Sanders' suggestion that if the current actions in the West Bank continue, that we should stop the economic support of Israel and its military actions.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Isaac. And who's next in the chat? If anyone, Dennis or?
Yeah, Carrie.
Carrie Scoville. All right. My erstwhile co-host.
Hi there. So my last question was on fundraising, and I know it was a stumper. I knew it would be a stumper. None of us want that, but it's something that you will be asked when you go before for your vote. So I just want you to be prepared with an answer of some kind. This question is different. It's easier, I hope. Are you a member of a Democratic club in your region? If so, which ones? Have you ever had a club leadership position? And how would you approach fostering and supporting Democratic clubs and their inclusion into the LA County Democratic Party?
Okay, thank you, Carrie. The first half of that question was answered by them with one of our preset questions, but they are welcome to further elaborate and then answer the second half of your question. So candidates, you can go one at a time, any order.
Can you repeat the second half of the question, please?
Certainly. What would you do to help foster Democratic clubs in your region and get them involved and engaged in the LA County Democratic Party?
So the question is, are you a member of Democratic clubs, and what would you do to help get people involved in them, right, Carrie, or promote
right
them?
and get people involved in clubs, but also to get the clubs engaged with that county party?
And yeah, right. And we kind of touched on this a little bit with the right to vote, but that was lightning round question for club reps to LACDP as associate members. But candidates, feel free to elaborate further.
I'm a member of 3 Democratic clubs in the Valley. Well, not just the Valley. Feel the Burn Democratic Club, Los Angeles, Feel the Burn Democratic Club, San Fernando Valley, and North Valley Democratic Club. No, I have never held an officer position. And I am thinking, since there are dozens of clubs in the Valley, I'm not going to be able to make it around to all of them, but I can encourage I can get to some and speak and encourage participation, encourage the Assembly District Vice Chairs and Chairs to participate in local clubs and encourage participation.
Okay, thank you, Rebecca. Liz or Isaac?
I'm a member of the Democratic Alliance Fraction and have been for many years. I have been intermittent member of the North Valley Democratic Club, a member of the Feel the Burn San Fernando Valley, Field of Berm, Los Angeles. I have been intermittently a member of the Democratic Club of the High Desert. I think we were members of the Progressive Democrats of the Antelope Valley, but I don't know that we actually officially joined. It's pretty far flung. What would I do to? Oh, I was a member of the West LA Democratic Club. A lot of different clubs. A member of, but DAA is probably the only one that I've continually been for many years, except Field of Burn. What would I do to help encourage their enrollment? Continue to, as soon as we can get back to real life without the pandemic and social distancing, I love tabling at local community colleges and other public outdoor areas for policies, for candidates, and for clubs. And I work very hard to encourage people to come and get involved in the clubs they're interested in, and encourage them to get involved in the Democratic Party. Many of the people that I meet are less amenable to that, because as many of us know, many people, especially young people, are pretty disgusted with the corruption. And to them, I encourage them to join our revolution, to join DSA, LA, and to get involved and to start to come to understand the situation we have right now, where I'd mentioned earlier about it, but the collusion between the two, the structural problems where we have proportional representation. So the collusion prevents other parties becoming viable. And so as people learn that some of the solutions might be ranked choice voting, proportional representation, fusion voting, to encourage and fight for those solutions, and come with us to join the Democratic Party to make it the true progressive party of Franklin and Eleanor Roosevelt, Medicare for all, and the Green New Deal that it needs to become. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Isaac. And then Liz, right?
Yes. Okay, sorry about that. So I'm not a member of any clubs right now. I was with Field of Burn way back, Field of Burn LA. But unfortunately, I could never get to their meetings because of my job and then the distance also. But so I was a part of that as much as I could be online. And we're actually Linda is working on starting a club out here in this area where we live in our district, which is good because you don't find that, a lot of clubs out here, especially progressive clubs, like it's going to be more like a Bernie type club, with that platform. So I'm excited for that. And, we're trying to get people to join once she gets everything going, get some people to join. But as far as fostering, involvement, I think that's going to be one of the ways to do it, is to start, get this club going, and then we're going to start working on, my campaign and Maria's campaign, and we're going to be able to talk to people more like a grassroots. You talk to people when you canvass, and you talk about the club, and so that's how I feel like that's how you can bring people in, especially the young folks. And I think it's more of just getting out there and talking to people, house to house, and then it really makes a difference when you talk to them about what's going on, about clubs and about platform. And that's what I think it would be a good idea to do it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Liz. And we have 3 minutes left. That should be enough time for one more question from the floor, if we have one, Dennis, or somebody else.
It's clear.
It's clear?
Yep.
Okay, so if anybody has a question from the floor and wants to raise their hand in the chat, or using that chat feature or the physical hand, we do have time for one last question. Anybody? Okay, I don't see any hands. I don't see anybody say anything in the chat. So maybe we're just going to start.
Good, because my Red Bull ran out.
You're right. Well, thank you. I mean, that goes to, now we got 2 minutes left.
I've been working nights.
Yeah. Well, all the more reason to, for me to thank you candidates for coming and for spending actually 3 hours or almost 3 hours with us. We began the question and answer portion around 6:20-ish, and we ended that around 8. And we've been in an extended Q&A time, thanks to the graciousness of the candidates, for approximately 1 hour from 8 to 9 here now. So kudos to the candidates, these marathoners, and you who have been on the call since the start, also marathoning with me and the rest of us. Thank you for coming. Thank you for asking questions, sending questions weeks ago, and then giving us some tips or tricks since then on questions, including for Regional Vice Chair. And we will host this again next week. I will put it up maybe tonight online along with the video, announcing we'll have another forum next week, not for these same candidates, for any other candidates that decide to declare or get in or want to run or are running. Next Friday night, that'll be their last opportunity with these Friday night forums. And hopefully we'll have at least a few avail themselves of that opportunity before August 1st to participate in Q&A and get their message out, and allow you all to hear from them directly, rather than just in a mere 5-minute speech on August 1st.
Thank you,
So,
everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Rebecca.
Candidates.
Paul, Rebecca, Elizabeth.
Isaac, Elizabeth.
Could I invite people? Do Rebecca and Elizabeth, is there a way to volunteer to help with your campaigns? I'd love to encourage the 27 folks who were here before, 17 who are here now, to volunteer to help Rebecca or Elizabeth on their campaigns if they could use any volunteer assistance.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We'll probably get started next month. Maria and I, we're going to be working together because our districts overlap. And so, yeah, if anybody can come out and help us, that would be awesome. We'll be doing a lot of canvassing for sure. And probably doing some phone banking as well. And yeah, so that would be awesome. We appreciate it.
Is there a website or an email address or phone number they would use contact you?
I can give you
campaign.
I don't have a website yet, but I am on Facebook. I do have a page on Facebook. But I can give my email, and then anybody can contact me through there. Do you want me to, should I put it through the chat, or is that okay? Or
if you'd like to, yeah, because if you don't want to give the email out to the public, because this will be made a public recording.
Okay.
Maybe you should do it in the chat.
Okay, got it.
But yeah, okay, you put it in the chat for everybody that they can contact you that way.
Yes. And I'll put my phone number too. If anybody wants to call me, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, you can put that in the chat.
Or if there is a public way, some way for the public that you don't mind publicized, if the recording is going to be put publicly, it might get more attention, and you might be able to get more support in your campaign. If there is one. If there's not yet, that's fine. We'll spread it later.
Yeah, I don't have a website yet, but I do have my Facebook page, and also I have a Twitter account as well with some of my campaign information. But we're just kind of right now, we're kind of getting started actually. So we're hopefully by August, August is next week. After next week, we'll be up and running.
Do you know what your Twitter handle is?
Let me look at it really quick. And what I'll do is I'll put it into the chat. Let's see.
if you say it verbally, if it's my understanding from what Paul just said, that it will then be available to everybody who sees the recording and not just
Okay.
the 17 people. Now, Rebecca, seeking assistance with your campaign or not?
For LACDP,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
Yeah.
you.
you're talking about LACDP. Hello?
Yeah. Yes, I am. Yes.
So we're a week away and I'm doing emailing. If anyone wants to write a recommendation or whatever, I can attach those to some of the emails that are going out.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. And then did you want to answer your own question, Isaac? Since you're a candidate?
Oh, not for this campaign, but if anybody wants to help get us get single payer, universal Medicare for all as a human right, they can contact me at my email address. It's my first 7 letters of my last name, ILIE, B as in boy, ERM as in Mary, at ucla.edu.
Okay. And if you want to put that in the chat, Isaac, it's up to you. Okay, then thank you, everybody. Unless the candidates have one final thing they want to say, I think we're done, right? Candidates, if you want to say goodbye. Elizabeth Castillo, again, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Running for
Thanks for
Regional Vice
inviting.
Chair. Rebecca Wolfersberger, thank you for coming and running for Regional Vice Chair. And Isaac Lieberman, thank you for coming and running for Regional Vice Chair. This is our LACDP, and we need leaders, and thank you for being willing to step up and be a leader within this county party.
My email's in the chat too. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Very good. Thank you, everybody. We will, if you want to save the chat, if you're on a desktop, you can do that. All you have to do is click Save Chat, and then everybody can have that. So before you log off, I'd recommend if you didn't catch those emails, you can do so. Phone numbers that some of the candidates are putting up. Yeah, hopefully we can all keep in touch.
All right. Awesome.
So before Dennis and I close that, we'll let people save the chat if they would like. As I say, we'll also post this online and hopefully tonight. And yeah, anything else, Dennis? Technically, we're good.
Yeah, I'm going to stop the recording and then I got a question for you. So I'm
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Okay.